There is definitely some shortages going on because this aisle is usually packed. Like I said, this area is usually always packed, and there's
right now there are no containers at the port of Seattle, and dire warnings were issued by the port of LA.
On the road-ish, different day, I be bored out my mind. Hometown, love my place, but while I'm in my pride.
Check this out, y'all, and hit the like before you leave, and let me know what you think in the comments down below.
Live right off the Gulf Coast, and look, these ports, they are struggling right now. I went down to 3 separate major ports, and as you can see, these ports are all empty. They are usually filled. I'm talking about filled. You can see shipping containers right up to these gates behind me. And now there's loads of trucks around here with empty trailers. I'm talking about empty trailers. Port workers are continuously complaining about this shit down here. But there's also reports of container ships having to literally divert their course to other states. And then the fact that I've been hearing a lot of reports of people not only losing hours, but facing potential cuts as well in the near future. Now this is the Gulf, of course, so I can't necessarily speak for the rest of the country, but what I can say is that from the looks of the West Coast alone and all the videos that are coming out from those ports as well, you can clearly see a lot of similarities. Plus, I'm noticing more and more by the day that products in major retail stores are taking a lot longer to restock. Not only that, but you can already notice the obvious impact of the top shelves being completely empty, which is why I highly recommend that if you still have the opportunity to stock up, you need to.
What happens?
FedEx announced today that they will be furloughing thousands of workers from 28 facilities as they are closing those locations from the slowdown in the less than truckload division. Starting on the 28th of May, they will be starting the bloodbath, which will leave an unknown amount of drivers with just their benefit plans that they signed with the company since day one.
Schneider National hauls goods all over the country, covering more than 9 million miles a day. But if there are fewer goods, that impacts the trucking and logistics company. And in an April report, Apollo Global Management economists are predicting that later this month, trucking companies are going to experience a major drop-off after a near halt of container ships arriving at U.S. ports.
To cripple some small businesses, including those in the beauty industry. Business owners say impact tariffs are trickling down and causing headaches. Today I talked with 2 women who own a beauty supply store in Mableton. They say they're trying their best to do good business, but also not make it unbearable for their customers.
Your total is $10.59 today.
For Dana and Sharis.
All right. See you later.
It's a family environment inside Zoet Beauty Supply in Mableton.
We just pray that God keeps continuing to cover us.
But now they are asking for divine protection as they say Trump imposed tariffs against China. It's impacting prices.
At this point, it's no longer possible. They are here in full effect. The prices have gone up extremely high.
Trump hiked tariffs on China to a staggering 145%. It's making it difficult for some Chinese businesses to continue trading with the United States.
I imagine that some of us may not have the budget to continue. Most of the stuff now that we are paying for, the price that we're getting charged is the price that we were charging the customers. So of course we can't stay in business if we keep the prices the same. So now we're working on making sure that, the margins are still there, but making sure that we are, not making it unbearable for our customers.
The business owners say they are trying to be as transparent as possible with their customers so they don't have sticker shock. I'm told hair is the first item that the cost went up on.
All right, thank you, Tiffany, and as I mentioned, we appreciate your ongoing support.
As there seems to be no end in sight, they say now is the time to support your local businesses.
And now some might say it's just hair care, who cares? It's going to be more than just hair care, and it's not just going to be specific beauty supply stores. It's going to be every small business. So I'm at my local Target in Central Florida right now. I had to grab a couple things, and I just wanted to see if there was any shortages here, and I need to show you guys. There is definitely some shortages going on because this aisle is usually packed. Like I said, this area is usually always packed, and there's multiple shelves that are completely empty. Like, just wow. I'm actually surprised by this because this Target is always stocked, and the only time I don't see it stocked is when I come super early in the morning and they're like actively stocking it.
How much volume has just dropped off
in the last few weeks?
Yeah, about a third of the import volume, which means give or take about 50,000 20-foot equivalent units gone off the arrivals coming in next week.
From next week is when you expect to see this really hit?
That's correct. And that matches up. The announcement's back on April 2nd, then on April 8th, a little bit of a change on everybody ex-China, Mexico, Canada, and those arrivals are coming at us this weekend.
Well, of course, how it hits trucking, when this turns up on the shelf, what's the distance, the time from when you see a drop-off in volume and when we, as consumers, see the shortages?
Right, so CEOs are telling me, hit the pause button, right? I'm not going to import anymore at these kind of prices. Let's wait and see. I don't know if it's going to be 2 hours, 2 days, or 2 weeks till I get some clarity.
So y'all, I just got off the phone with my cousin. We talk once a week, maybe twice a week, a couple hours. And she's a manager in the grocery store sector, right? She's been doing it a long time. But she's saying how they're running out of certain things. Milk, I believe she said cucumbers. She said by noon these things are gone. Bell peppers, you know, that they're not getting in. Their trucks are coming in half full. That's just enough for me. And she's like, even people that work at the store with her, and she's like, you guys better be stocking up. And they're like, oh, it's gonna be okay. Or they just don't want to know. I mean, and they're there working, seeing the same thing she's seeing. And it was just interesting to me. So I'm sharing that with you guys.
Here are a few items you might not have thought to stock up on for shortages and supply chain issues that seem to be coming mid-May and beyond. Empty shipping containers now mean shortages in the fall and winter items. Most apparel and shoes are made out of this country, so think fall and winter clothing like coats, hats, boots, ski stuff, mittens, especially if you have growing kids. It might be a great idea to buy those now online or to buy them used, because even used, that supply is going to be dwindling if there's shortages in the store in the fall and winter. Cold and flu medicines are another one to think about. While we might not have terrible shortages here, many of the active ingredients and packaging are made elsewhere. So if that supply chain doesn't keep moving, we could experience the shortages in those, especially when it comes to kids' medications. Those are harder to get. Small electronics that you use in the winter, like humidifiers and heaters, might be in short supply because now is when stores would get those in. Big box stores are going to run out first. So think about, again, buying those online now or buying them in stores if you can, so that you have them in the winter.
Y'all, and hit the like before you leave. And let me know what you think in the comments down below. Are you stockpiling? What are you doing to get stocked up before things leave the shelves?